All right, TV Dude listeners. This week I got to chat with comedian, actor, and writer Jimmy O. Yang, currently celebrating the premiere of Silicon Valley Season 5 on HBO, as well as the release of his new book, How to American, An Immigrant's Guide to Disappointing Your Parents. We talk about life without Erlich, Asian representation in film, and what his dad thought about his autobiography. Hope you enjoy.
Hey, Les.
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to do the interview today. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man.
I had just recently got a copy of your book and finished it. What a fun read.
Thank you.
I would encourage everybody who is about to listen to me interview you to just read the book. I was reading through it going, well, that's the question I would have asked. And then I would have asked that. And so I really enjoyed reading it. Talking to Jimmy O. Yang, who plays Jin Yang on Silicon Valley. Season 5 of that just started this past Sunday, correct?
Yeah. Very exciting season so far.
One of the most fun things on that show for me has been the arc up of Jin Yang, where I thought of him as like Erlich's sidekick for a minute, and then Erlich's partner, and or kind of a Laurel Hardy thing, and then now with Erlich gone, was it weird to look at going into season 5 without kind of the other half of the comedy duo there?
Yeah, man, definitely. TJ's definitely missed, and especially for me, with such like a good two-man show going with our scenes, and most of my scenes has been with him, so I was kind of sad and a little bit worried even for my character when he left. But you know what? It turned into a blessing in disguise, I think, because it kind of allows my character to fly outside of the incubator and now, in a way, kind of becoming a villain on his own, without Erlich Bachman. So it will be interesting to see to see the audience reaction on Jin Yang this season as his character progresses to the dark side.
Has it been fun as the prankings increased and everything to get to turn villainous?
Oh, yeah. It's great. And I think on set, we're all just, comedians and improvisers. So my thing is always trying to make, the crew in Video Village laugh, even trying to make the opposite actor laugh, And it's probably not cost efficient for production, but we're always trying to crack each other up. And we have a good time on there, man. And it's definitely been really fun filming that show.
I know you had mentioned in your book finally getting TJ to break with the milk chalice.
Oh, yeah.
Bit. Have there been any other moments where you've managed to just bring the house down on a take?
Man, I think even one of the very first scenes, that I eat the fish scene, we just found something there. I remember Mike Judge just coming up to me, giving me one note. He was just like, just don't say anything for a few seconds and stare at TJ. I don't know why, but it's going to be very funny. And I did that. I stared at him for a few seconds before I said I eat the fish, and the whole crew cracked up. And it was great. And one of my favorite scenes still is, I think one of the first scenes in season 2 when me and TJ trying to get into the mansion. So it was just us two playing with a bunch of extras and the reception lady, and in this outside mansion. It was just great. It was us constantly throwing each other under the bus, and we came up with some really good improvisation there.
Yeah, you had mentioned that scene in your book as well, and I knew exactly what you were talking about. That was the first time that it's one of the first times I think we see them outside of the incubator interacting.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the first times where Erlich would try to, denigrate Jin Yang, and Jin Yang just casually throws him under the bus.
Yeah.
Can anyone pay? My investor cannot pay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird, using his own, evil against him type of deal. It's like a jujitsu in a way where, TJ is being kind of an asshole. And for some reason, Jin Yang comes up on top because he's a quiet asshole.
Yeah. Well, the lease squatting turnaround later was the same thing. I mean, it was exactly the evil plan Erlich had.
Yeah, exactly.
Used successfully against him.
Yeah, which is kind of what makes the dynamics like kind of work and great, like because we're both being dicks to each other.
Can I ask where the smoking bit came from? The special occasion smoking bit is one of the funniest things to me.
Uh-huh.
Not just from a the foreign language or one liner or whatever standpoint, but
Yeah, yeah,
but for the amount of people I know that have, I don't smoke, but
yeah.
I have a special occasion cigarette every day.
You got to credit that to the writers. I think when they wrote that episode when we're pitching in the meeting, that whole cigarette episode with Monica smoking and all that, they wrote all that in within. It wasn't like improvised. The whole cigarette bit, the special occasion, and I think one of my favorite lines TJ said, it's like, Jingyang, we don't have the freedom like you guys have in China. You can't just smoke everywhere. I think that's really funny. And from then on, every time when there's some kind of special occasion or the scene where I'm throwing TJ's bag out of the car, sadly the last scene between the both of us, I always ask, hey, can I get a cigarette in this scene? And it just became like an ongoing joke. And now every scene we try to decide if, Jin Yang should have a cigarette or not.
That's great. Almost everybody I know that has, something between a really interesting and a really painful childhood, they have points in their stories where they stop, where, you can tell this much of the story and it's funny. You can go a little bit further and it's poignant. You go a little bit further and someone would call child services.
Yeah.
You touch on it a little bit in your epilogue, but what was it like to take these stories and take them to the comedy stage, but then to take them to that next step that a book can do where where you can get a little poignant about them? Was it odd?
For sure. That's kind of why I wanted to write a book in the first place, because stand-up is such an expectation to be funny every few seconds. It's basically a delivery of a bunch of punchlines, with minimal setup. Whereas the book, it allows me to go a little long form and really share stories that I want to share in a way that's more relatable and, like you said, more poignant. I think some of the best reactions in the reviews or even people messaging me about the book is, oh my God, this happened to me. I'm so glad you wrote about it. Not just from immigrants or Asian people, but from everyone. I talked about, for example, it was kind of, I teetered on writing this chapter or not about, my mother leaving after we immigrated here for 2 years, and my mother went back to Shanghai. And that was, pretty painful, moment for a 15-year-old kid. But I thought, I needed to write it for other people to kind of relate to it because it might all seem perfect on the surface for a lot of Asian families, immigrant families, or just families in general. But, deep down, there's a lot of crap going on, just like everybody's real family, Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's, a death in the family or somebody leaving. So I thought it was important to share that in a very honest way. And, at the end of the day, the goal of the book is, for people to relate to it, for people to go like, oh my God, this is so true. That's happened to me. So they feel a little better about themselves. Like they're not the only person that went through it, especially with the immigrant standpoint and with the Asian American standpoint, there just aren't too much material out there that's really honest and out there. And, books like Fresh Off the Boat, I thought was great. And we just need more of that out there.
Some of the scenes that you had about, panic, stress lying, and then realizing, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that. Finding yourself kind of down a rabbit hole of trouble and going, oh no, I just misspoke. I'm sorry. All of that is so relatable. I think everybody has pulled some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Your picture of the American dream, so to speak, in the book is kind of the high point notes that look most fun out of Idiocracy.
Yeah. Well, that's what your TV kind of tells you, right? I mean, when I came here when I was 13, watching like BET and MTV, like all those rap music videos, that's really the American dream, honestly. It's a very heightened version of it. But like when you're a kid or like when you're like stupid like those people in Idiocracy, that is the American dream, and until you realize, it might not be that cool to be a gangster. People actually go to jail, and it might not be that cool like for me to work at a strip club. because everybody that works there really have no choice but to work there because they've been in the prison many times. And I was the only kid stupid enough to actually want to go work there, you know?
Yeah, I've had that moment of being on a back porch with folks at like 7 a.m. and going, oh, I'm the only one here with all my teeth and a college degree. What the fuck am I doing?
Exactly.
I can't recommend the book enough to folks that enjoy Silicon Valley at all. It's absolutely hysterical.
Thank you.
What's been the most interesting change for you over the course of playing Jin Yang on the show? Is this kind of always where you thought the character would go?
No, not at all. I didn't know where the character was going to go. I didn't know really even as an actor where the show was going to go, because like it started off as a 2-line part. You know, I got paid $900 as a SAG minimum scale as a guest star. And then, you know, it turned into 2 more episodes in the first season. And then by second season, kind of out of circumstance and, you know, their love for Jin Yang, which is awesome. And they support for me. Like I became a series regular. So I can't be more blessed. I always feel like I kind of snuck in the back door, you know, and, every day on set, every scene with Jin Yang, I still treat it as if I only had 2 lines. And I try to, you know, make those 2 lines or whatever, 2 scenes now, or, you know, an episode as funny as it can be, down to the word. So, yeah, it's just been great. And looking back, it's been pretty crazy because just a few years ago, I was just kind of muttering around and not really making things happen. So this has definitely changed my career also.
Having seen your stand-up, the character of Jin Yang, it seemed like a natural progression into acting to move to a comedic role on such a funny show with other comedians. Was it scary or jarring to shift gears and go to drama with Patriots Day?
Oh, yeah. I think Patriots Day in particular, it was a pretty tough movie to tackle because it was based on the Boston Marathon bombing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a very important event. But, you know, talking to Peter Berg, he's an awesome director, and Mark Wahlberg being the lead actor and the producer, they're like, we just got to do this right. This movie's not about us. It's about the victims and the heroes of this event. So going into that in mind, like the character I played, Danny Mang, who still lives in Boston, I was able to kind of pick his brains, and I just got to make sure I did right by him. You know, so that really gave me some really good motivation. It wasn't an easy part to play, especially with him being carjacked at gunpoint by the terrorists and stuff like that. To recreate that, it's not nearly as fun at all compared to Silicon Valley. But at the end of the day, it was one of the most rewarding experiences I've had.
You had also spoken about in the book getting cast in Life of the Party.
Mm-hmm.
What a big deal it is for representation for Asian romantic male leads.
Right? Yeah.
Has that been doing Life of the Party and Crazy Rich Asians? Do you feel that weight on you to try to represent this right?
I try to not, but I think there's just, especially, you know, in history, there just aren't a lot of Asian people in mainstream media. So if you are, you automatically kind of become a representative. You know, and I try to not put that burden on myself, but I do feel good. I do understand what it means, though. Like Life of the Party, I played Melissa McCarthy's daughter's boyfriend, which at the end of the day is not the biggest role, but just seeing and normalizing the fact that, you know, Asian people in mainstream media with a white girlfriend. I think that's important, you know. And with Crazy Rich Asians, you see a whole spectrum of Asians. You see the good-looking romantic lead Asians. You see the funny Asians. You see, you know, the asshole buffoonish Asians. So it's great. I think with more movies like that, hopefully that movie will do well. It's a very good movie. I saw a screening of it. If that does well, I think that allows us and allows people to see a whole spectrum of us instead of just one guy carrying the burden for everything. And if that movie does well, hopefully they'll make more movies that features a more well-rounded Asian cast instead of, you know, just having maybe one token Asian guys here and there.
There's something on your IMDb that I've heard rumors about, Happy Time Murders.
Yes, I did a cameo on that movie, another Melissa McCarthy movie. That's a very funny movie. I think it comes out around the same time in the summer with Crazy Rich Asians. It's about a bunch of puppets. So it's like, imagine a Muppets, but it's an R-rated movie, and Melissa is like a detective, where there's a world where humans are very racist to puppets. It's really funny, and yeah, I make a little cameo on that, and I think it was just fun working with Melissa McCarthy and Ben Cohen on those things.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I can't thank you enough for taking out the time. I know you've got a busy day. Is there anything else you've got on the horizon that we should keep our eye out for?
Buy the book now, and then I'm also going on a tour. You guys can check that out on jamiecomedy.com, where I'm doing some stand up. And with a lot of new material actually from the book. So I'm pretty excited to kind of do it myself, and I'm pretty excited to kind of, I always think doing stand-up, it's like reaping the benefit of whatever I've done on TV. You see the crowd, you see the fans, and it's just a fun time. So I'm doing a bunch of cities on a How to American tour, basically, the same title as the book. So yeah, get the book, come to a stand-up show, and then keep watching the season and watch Crazy Rich Asians when it comes out.
Oh, I also wanted to ask, has your dad gotten a chance to read the book yet?
He has. So the subtitle of the book, it's of course How to American, and the subtitle is an immigrant's guide to disappointing your parents. And my dad has read the book. He did finally give it up. He's like, you know what? This is pretty good writing. Did you actually write it? I'm like, yes, Dad. I fucking wrote it. And and then he got, I was surprised, he didn't get upset at the parts that maybe I was saying I disappointed him, or he didn't support my comedy career. But he got upset at the part. He's like, Jimmy, how can you tell people that me and your mom was arguing all the time? How can you tell people that, grandpa's house smelled like a dusty closet or something? That's disrespectful. So he got really bent out of shape on on weird things, but he's a prideful old Chinese man, so it's all good. But he's coming out to one of my shows in San Francisco this week, so we'll see what he says about that.
Oh, that's great, man. I can't thank you enough. I really enjoyed the interview, and I loved reading the book.
Thank you, man.
Have a great rest of your day, man.
You too.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Permanent Record Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, please go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter @tvdudes, and help us out on iTunes by giving us a 5-star rating and writing a review. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and permanentrcrd.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.